Montreal, Quebec stage director Robert Lepage broke his silence Friday on the abrupt cancellation of his controversial show SLAV, calling it a direct attack on artistic freedom. The Montreal International Jazz Festival cancelled the show Wednesday amid heavy criticism. It amounted to cultural appropriation because it featured a white woman and largely white cast singing songs composed by black slaves. Director Robert Lepage says his controversial show SLAV would still be running if it were up to him. Renee Johnston, Toronto Star, in a statement released through his production company Ex Machina, Lepage said he would leave it to others to debate the issue of cultural appropriation, which he called an extremely complicated problem he could not pretend to be able to solve. But the award-winning playwright, who has 40 years under his belt in theater, said he is well-placed to speak about it from an artistic standpoint. "To me, what is most appalling is the intolerant discourse heard both on the street and in some media," Lepage said. "Everything that led to this cancellation is a direct blow to artistic freedom," article continued. Lepage said theater is based on the principle of someone playing someone else or pretending to be someone else, stepping into the shoes of another person to try to understand them, and in the process, perhaps understand ourselves better, he said. "This ancient ritual requires that we borrow, for the duration of a performance, someone else's look, voice, accent and at times even gender, but when we are no longer allowed to step into someone else's shoes, when it is forbidden to identify with someone else, theater is denied. Its very nature, it is prevented from performing its primary function and is thus rendered meaningless." SLAV, one of the hottest tickets at this year's jazz festival, was the subject of protests from its debut and was called out for appropriation of black culture and history. It was described as a theatrical odyssey based on slave songs, and described by organizers as a journey through traditional Afro-American songs, from cotton fields to construction sites, railroads, from slave songs to prison songs. Betty Boniface, a Montreal-based singer known for her Oscar-nominated work on the soundtrack of Les Triplets de Belleville, was the main performer in the show. After widespread criticism and the cancellation of a festival appearance by U.S. musician Moses Sumney because of SLAV, the jazz festival cancelled the remaining presentations and apologized to anyone offended by it. Article continued. Lepage said everyone involved in the project understood they were taking on a sensitive subject and that it fell on them to create a show with diligence, respect, honesty and integrity. And they elected to remain silent in an overcharged atmosphere created by the show. As long as the show was being performed, it was speaking for itself and we didn't have anything to add to the debate, which also allowed us to listen to the arguments of those who were opposed to our show being presented, he said. Lepage said the muzzling of the show has led them to speak out. The playwright said theater pieces tend to evolve, an opportunity that wasn't afforded to SLAV given it was cancelled after just 3 shows. "It's obvious that any new show comes with its share of blunders, misfires and bad choices," Lepage said, but unlike a number of other art forms, theater is not fixed. It's a living art form that allows a play to grow and evolve constantly, to be perpetually rewritten according to audience reactions, and to be fine-tuned show after show. Lepage noted that over his career, he has put on shows denouncing injustices through history to specific cultural groups without including actors from those groups. "These shows have been performed all over the world, in front of very diverse audiences, without anyone accusing me of cultural appropriation, let alone of racism," he said. Lepage, who also directed the high-tech production of Coriolanus now playing at the Stratford Festival, said SLAV would still be running if it were up to him. "I will always demand the right for theater to talk about anything and anyone," Lepage said. "Without exception. None.